Hi everyone, so if you've seen my last video, which was about my 4 language goals for 2022, you'd have seen that I made some fairly biggish goals, but not like massive goals for 2022, but there are much more than I did for 2021. So I thought I would go through kind of how I've been setting these goals and what I've been thinking about when I've been goal setting for 2022. So the first thing before I kind of go through how I set them was I needed to make sure that I had like realistic goals. So I know you often see like on YouTube and different things like how somebody got fluent in like 3 months or 6 months. Now unless you've got like all the time every single day to study, it's not really realistic in the slightest. So I think you need to make sure, or I did, made sure that the goals were realistic but also like challenging enough that it wasn't going to be completely easy to do it. So the main two goals I made that I could measure were to take the topic one and to take a HSK exam. So these are going to be hard, that I'm going to have to study really hard for and get prepared for, but they're not something that I'm not starting from like zero. I already know bits already, so it's not going to be terribly hard. So I think the first things I did was think about like a realistic goal for me to do, and then by doing that I kind of looked at my past sort of year and how far I'd already got to see if it was going to be realistic for me to get to that point. So I just kind of thought about how much I was able to learn last year, and I know that the coming year I'm going to be able to study a lot more than I did last year. So I thought about how far I've been able to get then and how far I think I'm going to be able to get this year and what goal will be realistic with that. So that's why I came to the conclusions that I would be able to take these two exams. And once I decided on that I wanted to take the topic and I wanted to take the HSK, the next thing was to make sure I had like clear dates of when I wanted to do this by, so I could really plan out what I was going to do. So I've decided to take the topic in the autumn because I think it is twice a year. So I'm going to take the one in the autumn so it gives me enough time to study and get ready for it. And for the HSK I just want to be able to take it by the end of the year. So this then has made me be aware of what I need to learn and when and how much time I have to prepare for each of these. As part of this I've also kind of made a plan to figure out, as I was saying before, like what I need to be able to learn and when, and also research what books and resources I'm going to need. So over the past few weeks I have been looking into textbooks for each of those and finding like the simplest way to be able to get to my goal. So for example, I found a book for the topic and it says this is the only book you'll need to be able to pass topic 1, and they have like a version for topic 2. So I've ordered that book and hopefully now I'll be able to work through that to be able to get to the point I need to for the topic. One of the things I've really thought about with making these goals as well is how I'm going to stay accountable to them. So last year and the year before I also said I was going to take the topic and it never happened. Different things got in the way, or I didn't put enough time in to study, so I didn't feel prepared enough. So being held accountable is one of the things I'm trying my best with this year. So for one example, I'm talking about it on here, so I've now said it. So I've now said that I am going to take the topic. So it now feels that I need to hold myself accountable because I've told everybody, so it gives me more motivation to do it. I've also said it on Twitter and other places as well, so kind of telling other people is one way of holding like yourself accountable. Also found somebody else that's also wanting to take the topic by the end of the year, so in a way we can kind of talk to each other, hold each other accountable, study together potentially, and just go over bits together, so at least we can help each other out. And I've found that is making a difference so far. It's not been very long yet, but hopefully it will help to keep me on track. Like talking to somebody else and telling them where I've got to really helps to keep me accountable. Some people also like to use visual things. I personally don't. So maybe like if you use something like Notion, you can keep like a diary of like what you've learned and things like that. I don't personally do it, but I know some people found that really useful. I have also decided to start my goal now in December rather than waiting until the new year to start sort of studying and getting into practice with my goals. I just find it better than waiting. I would be studying anyway, but I sometimes find that people, or like myself included, make big goals in the new year and don't stick to them, and I think if I've already started now, I feel like I'm more likely to keep to those goals in the new year rather than waiting until January 1st to sort of put them into practice. So I've already started making steps and doing things to achieve these goals for next year, even though we've not reached next year yet. I think the main thing with making these goals is you need to make sure that they're realistic and they are something that you can achieve, or you would be able to achieve if you put in enough effort. They need to also have like a specific thing that you need to achieve, and also like a time that you need to achieve it by, depending on what the goals are. Ideally to find someone that can hold you accountable, and also ideally sign them as soon as possible to, you know, get you motivated, and also to make sure you have a plan of how you are going to achieve these goals. So they're the sort of main things I thought about before I decided on the goals I was going to try and achieve next year. Some of my goals for next year do sort of fit that framework. So for example, the 2 exams I want to take. The others do not, because one is more of a maintenance, and then the other one is just picking up a new language, and well, an old language that I haven't studied for a long time. And at the moment I don't really know where I want to get to with that. It may be different, so I may find that I change my mind and I set more of a specific goal for either of those two. But for now, I just want to have 2 specific goals for the 2 I want to take exams in. Mainly because I don't want to have too many sort of big goals, otherwise the more I have, I feel like I'm just going to not do any of them. Whereas if I only have like 1 or 2 big goals, I'm more likely to stick to them because it's not as overwhelming. So that's how I made the decision of how I was going to make these goals and how I made them. Please let me know what your goals are for next year, and thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!